Welcome to the simpliHOM podcast, where we educate, inspire, and entertain real estate entrepreneurs seeking a casual and practical podcast. We're here to simplify your life and business.
You can find growth anywhere. And as long as you have an open mind and take those opportunities to learn, then you're going to grow from it.
The easiest thing too is just always being in your zone of genius. What you are passionate about and are good at.
The mindset shift is drastic when you're thinking of I am this person as opposed to I want to become or one day I will be is huge.
I feel like a lot of real estate companies have been putting a focus on themselves, basically. Recently, we've been putting it on the agents, and that's when our socials have been doing the best. It's become really personal, and we've gotten a lot more traction. All right. Hey, homies. Welcome back to the simpliHOM podcast. I'm Sarah Wiley Armstrong, and we're joined here today, as always, by Sean Miku, our CEO, Kyle Mann, our video connoisseur, and Brett Ratkowski, the COO here at simpliHOM, and
And the most important
Griff
guest.
Armstrong.
The Griff Armstrong.
So if you hear whining, it's not us, it's the dog. And then over on the ones and twos, we have Grant.
Hey, Grant, say what's up.
Rotan.
We have the Gers,
we
the
do.
Grants and Griffs.
We love it here.
All the more reason you
I
should
can't
watch
wait for the Grant
podcast.
I can't wait for the Grant cam.
We gotta get the Grant cam.
We got to get the Grant cam.
Yeah.
We're going to need a Griff cam soon. We
Yeah.
should get a little bed with a little camera.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The content everyone wants to see.
They don't care about us. Screw business advice. Just cute dogs.
Right? So this week we're going to be talking about craziness. And that's truly the topic, is craziness and crazy things you've seen in real estate or in business. I want to hear your horror stories, the silly stories, everything in between, fights you've had with other agents or other business owners, or rivals,
Police
anything.
officers, does that count? Kidding.
Kind of.
Buckle up.
So does anyone have anything crazy they want to start us off with? I know you had mentioned one earlier. But
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to start us off hot and heavy, let's hear
Listen,
it.
being in real estate this long, if you don't have a crazy story, Sean.
I think we reach a point where we have too many that
Right.
we forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's some, if they're crazy enough, that you won't forget.
Yeah.
So I have two specifically that come into mind. One, I had a client that chose her own title company, and that title company got hacked, and she ended up
Whoops.
200 and some thousand to the wrong account.
What?
Yeah. It was
Word of advice
what-
here. Call your title company.
Yeah,
Double check
yeah.
the last 4 digits of the account and routing numbers prior to submitting the funds.
absolutely.
That's happened to us
and that's
before.
as an agent making
Yeah.
sure that you learn from this type of mistake, and make sure you're telling your clients, like, unfortunately this client that I had was the type that just thought that she knew everything real estate related, and
Turns out.
yes. Yeah. And it's crazy. So the crazy thing is the emails that they created were so good. They had probably hacked this thing for a while. So it was so similar to the title, and it was just an attorney, him by himself. You know when he's using an AOL account that you probably shouldn't use this attorney.
Oh, God.
Oh.
So it was so close to his email, and then they took one and made it look similar to mine, but they couldn't because they don't own RatkowskiRealty.com.
Oh.
Right?
So it's
But-
Ratkowski Realty
At
at
gmail.com.
Yeah. As usual.
Yep.
God, say that 3 times fast.
Right? So like when she sent it, I said, we don't even have figures yet. Like, and it was so close to the final number too. It was really weird. So like a crazy, and it was, so I found out that you actually have 3 days from a wire transfer when it's sent to a wrong account. If it actually hits that account, that the FBI can go and stop that transaction, or the banks, however they work it with them, with wire fraud. This was like 5 days after.
Whoops.
And supposedly what she told me is they purchased like a boat and stuff like that. Whoever did it was
I was gonna say,
in the
so they
United
worked
States.
return the
fast.
money, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a great payday for whoever
yeah,
did
so
that.
so that was one.
That's wild.
Yeah.
We've had, I mean, not scam like that. We've just had
Yeah.
the money sent to the wrong account,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
wire
I think this is close to your
like
account number.
$17,000
If you can
commission.
confirm this, we'll send the money to you." But
Wire fraud is a
not that.
thing.
It's
and
a huge thing.
You don't. You
That's
don't.
so scary.
Yeah, and it's like you as the agent can't. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
Nothing anybody can do.
Nothing.
You just gotta call
nothing.
and verify.
And
the
on
numbers.
top of that, the sellers, man, this whole deal. The buyer went into the, like, I don't know how she got access to this house either. Went into the house and started making changes like 4 days prior to closing.
What?
Oh, good.
Yeah, like painting walls and stuff.
She probably actually sent the money to like a brother or something and tried to claim it was wire fraud so she
Dude.
could get the money
Right.
back.
Did she ever get it back though? Like ever?
No, not
Whoa.
to,
Can
to
you
my knowledge,
imagine?
no.
Definitely was.
I'm not in a place where
Yeah.
I would ever be like mentally or
Yeah.
emotionally okay
Yeah.
after wiring that much money
Yeah.
to the wrong person.
So yeah, so then the sellers ended up like fighting. I think she had like 25,000 in escrow on top of all of that. So they ended up fighting, and we ended up getting it back for her. But it was like 2 months that we fought with the we didn't even get to like arbitration, mediation, all of that. It was just going back and forth, and she ended up paying like to have the house like the 1 or 2 rooms that she went in and painted. She just paid to have the painters come back and paint it back to the normal color and stuff like that.
Very expensive
So
paint
then-
job.
So yeah, so
It's 100,000 per room. It sounds
Yeah,
like a deal to me in today's market.
yeah, so it was just I didn't sleep well for months after that one, just
Because he feared she would
dealing
show
with
up and
it.
kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Yeah.
the
The
most
actual reason.
expensive mistake I've ever heard.
Yeah. And
Okay,
side
well,
note to that, it
Griff,
wasn't even
don't
her
eat the
money.
cord.
It was a friend of her that she was.
There's so much sketchy
there's-
in this deal, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
South Florida's
I was gonna say it
finest.
was in Florida.
Right?
So, and
It's
I
like
feel-
you
and I feel
always hear
bad-
stories of like people from Florida.
Florida
You know how they're
man.
like, just Google your birthday and see
Yeah.
what crazy thing happened to a Florida person on that.
Yeah, and I feel
On that day.
I feel bad because like she was a great person. Like you don't want anything like that to happen, even if they think they know everything about real
Yeah.
estate,
Yeah.
whatever. Like she did know in certain aspects, she knew a lot when it came to like the property was on the intercoastal and like on like a little like waterway off of it. And what's up, Griff?
Griff is just having a great time. He has his zoomies right now, so
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's good. So she knew a lot, and then it's like, but she's still such a great person. Like my wife loved her. We went and showed her. It was a year-long process just to find the right home. And yeah,
Well,
just
now she
for it
knows
to end-
more,
For,
so-
for it to end like that, it
Yeah.
sucks,
Can you
man.
imagine telling someone, "Hey, I accidentally did this"? I don't know how I would tell someone. I would be
Yeah,
too-
well, so how does it take 5 days before you figure out you sent the money to the wrong place?
So
That's one thing.
Yep. So she got the email, sent the money, and then the lawyer from her title rep sent her an email saying, "Hey, this is how much you need to send at closing." And she's like, "Brett, why are they sending me this? I've already sent the money to them."
oh my gosh.
And that's when we found out. I said, "I didn't get anything, so send me the email that you said you got from them."
Oof.
Oops.
Letterhead and everything was the
Whoa.
same. Yeah, they had been following. And then what I've come to find is when they do these wire fraud things through email, they hack you through whatever email server you have, and they literally just watch the transaction as it goes. And then when they get to
They send that
they'll
email
know.
right.
They'll see the DA, not the DA, the like loan. If there's a loan, it's easy to go in there and see how much you have to wire, almost, because they give
Yeah.
you an estimate at the beginning of the process. So it's pretty dang close.
I just had one that was a 19-month deal,
Oh my goodness.
and we signed the contract in June of 2020. It was supposed to close April of 2021, and in January of 2021, they broke ground. And we're like, what happened the last 6 months? And
Right.
they claimed something, I don't know. And then they said, all right, it's no big deal, though. We'll close it by July.
of next year.
Then they had the framing package sit outside in the rain and the snow for 6 weeks while they went through 3 framing crews. Finally got it framed by April, so that was good. And then they said, well, we're not going to be July. Now it's going to be September. And the client had already sold their house in preparation
this is the
for
one
an
that
April.
just happened,
Yeah,
right?
it just happened.
Yeah. I
Had
remember
just
meeting them.
sold their house in preparation for an April closing to move from Virginia. And they ended up getting an apartment. And it was them and their 3, I think, dogs and 2 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. And it was supposed to be a short-term thing.
Tight
It was
squeeze.
supposed to be like through July, and then it became through September, and then September became through October, and then October became November something, and then in November they finally sent a 45-day letter to close, and that was like November 5th or something. They sent that, and then they still missed the closing date in mid-December, and we ended up closing December 23rd. 18, I guess, 18 solid months after, and 8 solid months after. And what was even crazier was right before the closing occurred, they came up with some imaginary situation that supposedly occurred. They got their employees to claim that they were witnesses to the imaginary event to force the client to sign a gag order, essentially stating that they would never talk negatively about the experience with the builder.
What?
And I was like, just sign it so you can get the house. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
the positive is the 18 months, because of how crazy the Nashville market is, they ended up closing with like 130,000 in equity
That's insane.
in the house, and they're bringing the
Good.
house.
I'll wait.
So that's a win.
Yeah, I mean,
But you know,
But that stinks.
they
You
still
said
would
it
have
was
even
close to
even if
December.
they even if they close it in 18 8 on time, it's still equity. So maybe I didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
yeah, facts.
But it's instant equity at that point.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So real estate's full of wonderful things.
All
and
I can think
anyone
about
who's-
Christmas, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
they didn't get to
I
put up
remember-
a tree. They didn't have room in their 2-bedroom apartment.
I remember
It was
that
already
coming in
locked
too.
up and everything. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
Yeah. Yeah, I had
But
a-
anyone who's been in real estate for any duration of time has had those deals where you just go, okay, I'm officially an alcoholic. Or
Yeah.
what, I mean, it's like,
Officially.
like literally, like
It wasn't official before, but now.
when I didn't really drink until I got into real estate. And I bet there's a bunch of realtors that would be the same way. They're
Yeah.
like, I never drank until real estate. Now I drink all the time just to survive. And oddly enough, now I don't drink anymore. And
Yeah, I
I
was
haven't
about to
sold a
say-
house in a long time.
All right. Yeah, so, yeah, I was going to say when you said, oh, surprisingly enough, I stopped drinking. I was like, yeah, because you're not.
I did. I
Actively
stopped
selling real
drinking.
estate anymore.
Selling real estate.
Sane again.
Yeah, you know, Sean, you said
water's
it.
my favorite.
Right. But you can't drink a gallon of water a day. But yeah,
Imagine drinking a gallon of Pellegrino every day.
Oh my
it's
God.
so funny. I did.
It would just
My
be
stomach would be
constantly-
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I poured the Pellegrino a little higher, and Grant's like, just do that on the podcast. I said, all right. He's like, no, but really don't.
Sorry.
Sean pours
I
it.
wasn't here for that conversation.
No, you weren't. But yeah, if you're in real estate long enough, it's like that's one of my craziest that I can think of when it comes
This would
to
be a
like,
great question for Leslie. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
so
man.
Leslie
She'd be like,
is
I don't know
our-
where to start.
Yeah, it'd be so
Yes.
hard to even.
yeah.
So just for background information, Leslie is our client success
Coordinator.
coordinator. She is over all of our, what some people consider TCs. Our client success coordinators do a lot more than your average TC. And then Leslie is heading up all of that.
Yeah.
So she has been
200 to 400 closings per
A
month.
Yeah.
That they're going
She
through,
sees
dealing
some
with all
things.
sorts of
She
crazy.
sees-
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes, her brain is going wild all
Yeah.
of the time. She's
Yeah.
more power to her. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Now she hasn't stopped drinking. Oddly enough.
It really
Nope.
spiked when she started here at simpliHOM.
She also
so,
hasn't started sleeping, or she stopped sleeping. I guess is a better way to say that.
yeah.
And she had
She
a
did-
house. She was like renovating a house
Yeah,
at the
renovating
same
a
time.
I was
house.
about to call CPS on that house. I always joke with her about that. It was totally fine, but the one day I came in, they had knocked out all these walls. Like, where are y'all sleeping? Well, like, what's going on here?
in the garage.
In the
But,
she shed.
but
in the barn
her
in
house
the
is so
back.
cute now. Oh my
is cute.
goodness, I love it.
She did a good job.
Yeah.
I I don't have any real estate stories.
Yeah, I was about to say, Kyle, do you have
Oh
any
man,
business ones?
come on.
keep
When you were
going.
wholesaling, you don't have any stories.
So
I can
Kyle
keep
is
going.
in
They
real
all
estate
stopped
for
at the start. I answered the phone. So you want to sell your house? Cool. Oh, you're in probate. I don't know what that means. Let me make a phone call. Yeah. So most of my crazy stories come from the production side of things,
Yeah.
just in the field. There are a lot of variables in the field versus a studio environment. But I think the one that stands out the most as far as things just going horribly wrong.
Yeah.
We were in. I think I've told this at orientation, but I was in Chad. One of the
I was looking forward to the Jamaica story.
the Jamaica.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's when it went
No,
right.
well, that's true, but it was still entertaining. So.
He had a great,
For another
great time there.
Yeah, Jamaica was nice. Very nice people.
If you're listening, homeless crew in Jamaica,
Yeah. Hey,
I've
I'm
made
looking
it.
at you. I hope you get your eye back. So we were in Chad and we were driving in the middle of the desert essentially, and we were heading. It was a 17-hour drive to get to where we needed to go, and we're in the back of these Land Cruisers, and yeah. And there's two rules when it comes to filming in Chad, and one of them is you do not film any government buildings, and two, you do not film any soldiers. That's just don't do it. That was what we were told from the very beginning.
unless you want to get kicked out of Chad.
In
a box.
they'd
So
keep
you would
I was
be
in a
there
box.
forever.
I was gonna say, yeah. They're going to keep you in a box in the country, or they're going to send you home in a box. So we were we had to stop in the middle of this town. It's this little 4-way intersection, just some tents and some shacks around this intersection. We stopped to talk to somebody, and we were in there for a while, and our translator ended up talking to somebody. The photographer and I are in the back seat, and we've probably got $50,000 worth of equipment with us. And he's like, I'm going to get out and just take some photos. We're just sitting here. Like, why would I not just... What we didn't know is that there were soldiers inside one of those tents. You can't see the soldiers, but they saw him taking photos of the tent that they were in. And so one of the
Spy
guys...
games.
Dude, it was wild. The guy came out, he had an AK-47, grabbed the photographer by the shirt and started pulling him towards the tent. Our translator was in the middle of a conversation. So he's like, Amanda? And like, he's like panic in his voice. This guy's, I would too. So I'm in the car at the time. It's running. Then the other soldiers start coming out. They're pointing guns at people, and we're like, this is escalating really fast. And at this point, we got a crowd. Everybody else that was in this intersection, they all come out and they're watching what's going on. And I'm still in the car with the door shut and it's running. I'm like, man, if somebody gets in this car right now and decides to drive, what would I do?
Jump out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then it's like,
But then
okay,
there's
well,
guns.
yeah, but there's more guns. So I was like, that gun or this gun? So our translator was like trying to diffuse the situation. They get her on a motorcycle and they leave. So it's just the crew, can't speak French. They speak French. Having no idea what's going on.
Just him.
Right. He's just bonjour all over the place.
Oui, no. So that was probably the craziest. That was also the trip I found out that Kayla was pregnant with Lennon.
And you almost abandoned him before you ever
And
met him.
almost
Not even
just,
because of it.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how did Kayla react when you told her this story?
Honestly, I don't know if I've.
Well, Kayla's
told
about to
her.
find out.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
I think I did.
Hey,
So
Kayla.
how,
I'm
so
not
how did,
sure.
obviously you're here.
Yeah. The translator came back.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, how did it all end?
We never saw the translator again.
They're still in a box in Africa.
There was a big misunderstanding. Apparently, the guy that came out with the gun, he was like he's a younger guy, but he was like higher up in rank. So he had a chip on his shoulder and was trying to prove a point. So we were able to pay them off and then leave.
Even worse.
They didn't eat the rest of the trip. They had no money left.
Yeah. It was rough. We had a couple of those.
Got taken to a bar by a homeless guy.
Yeah, that was a lot cooler. Yeah, that was a lot.
For
yeah.
sure. Nobody wants
Insane.
guns pointed at them.
Kyle's like, I lost the edge. I got to turn in my wings. I'm sorry, sir. Anytime I can quote Top Gun, it's going down. But yeah, good times.
That was
Oh
a
my
good time.
goodness. Does anyone else have any crazy stories? I know you said you had a second one, but
Oh, I've got a bunch, but this one's not like, oh man, that sucks. That was horrible. But getting a phone call, you're like 3 days before closing, and a client's like, I don't want to buy that house. That it was a condo for like $900,000. She had $50,000 in escrow. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to buy that house anymore. She was going to sell. She had a condo for $2.3 million that we had listed. And she's like, I'm not going to find anything. In this apartment she had was dope. Real
2.3,
nice.
yeah.
Really nice. On Fort Lauderdale. It was beautiful. So she calls me up and she's like, I'm not going to find anything as nice as this. And her thing was to downsize too.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to find anything. I'm going to have to renovate it and spend all that. By the time I do all that, I might as well just stay where I'm at. I said, you know that you'll lose the 50 grand, right?
Oof.
I don't care.
Oh.
50 grand or
care
spend
a lot.
50 grand or spend 900. It is what it is.
I had
It
a
is
client
what
do
it
that.
is.
I had a client do that.
I want FU money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
will
you don't have
take
to
it.
second guess.
Yeah. 50,000.
Yeah. So, and of course, who I am, like, okay, let's try to save the money because in case she ever did want to sell her condo again. So we ended up, obviously, just because somebody backs out doesn't mean they lose their money. Right. There's steps that go, but she ended up losing half of it. Which is still better than 25,000, just like this, because she didn't want to buy the house anymore. I'm like,
So I had a client, we were building a house in Brentwood, and we got about a week and a half out from closing, and they just weren't in love with it. It was just like, I'm not happy with this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy with this. And I think they had 30,000 down, 35, something like that down. And the wife was very like, yeah, but we're going to lose that money. And the husband was like, who cares?
yeah, exactly.
They fly.
Love it
And
and
he's
hate-
like,
yeah.
I spend more than that flying every month. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't fly
nice.
I don't fly for 1 month. It is what it is.
Nice.
Right.
I have a crazy story that I'm like questioning if
Just
I'll
leave some
tell.
details out.
So-
Just leave it out.
Yeah.
So, building a house, again, it's always new construction.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, real estate's an interesting thing where you find that like people just get stretched to the limits. Like if there's one thing I'm going to warn you about, because Swy just got under contract on her first house. Congratulations.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yay.
Just like make sure you don't screw up your marriage. Because
we're good.
I have seen, I have literally seen people who've been married for like 25 years get to like where I'm like, do y'all need a divorce attorney or a real estate attorney? I'm not sure which one. Because it just gets super intense. Like you get super high stress. Not everybody handles the stress well. And I have some clients that I've worked with over the years. I love them. But they don't necessarily handle stress the best when it comes to that situation. So new construction house, we're day before closing, and throughout the transaction, there have been conversations of like, if we wanted out, how do we get out? Ooh. And I'm like, contractually, there is no way out. However, from experience with new construction, if you pitch a fit and the builder determines they don't want to deal with you after closing, it's up to them. It's their discretion. They took that advice and they ran with it.
Yeah.
And we're standing in the kitchen at the final walkthrough the morning of closing, and they went off on the builder. And I'm like,
you already
Like,
knew.
how do
I
you
gave
feel?
this advice.
And run with it, Sean.
I gave this advice. Oh God. And so at one point they look at the builder and said, I need you to get out of the house so we can decide what we're going to do. And he steps back like 4 steps and just stands there. And they go, no, get out of the house. And he walks out and slams the door. So I'm like, let's go get some margaritas. Because again, real estate, all you do is drink.
Never met a margarita that didn't like me. So.
Yeah, right. And so I'm like, let's go calm this thing down a little bit. So we go, phone rings, sales manager goes, hey, so if they're really this unhappy, just let them know, we'll let them out and we'll give them their earnest money back. I'm like, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Guess I gave good advice.
Another round on me.
So we go, now that I'm broke. Yeah. So then we go and we start looking at other houses, and we spend 6 hours the rest of that day looking at houses. Next morning comes the day that we were supposed to close, and the builder had sent over the paperwork for us to terminate the contract, move on, just go. And I get a phone call. It goes, Well, you know, we looked at a bunch of different houses and there's just nothing we like. So we're just going to go ahead with the sale.
Oh,
And I'm like,
Oh no.
I would be so humiliated to ever see those people
so
again.
I called the sales manager and I'm like, so
They still want the house.
I don't know that. I think they were just stressed. And I don't think they're that stressed anymore. So can we close this thing? So 2 days later, we closed.
Of course. This,
Um,
why would they not?
So then you're rich again. We love it.
So then,
right? Cha-ching.
so yeah, hold up. Oh God.
Brain
The
fart number
first-
one.
Dang it. No.
Well, now we need to know what happened.
Felt it coming.
Where am I
We
going
need
with
to
this story?
All right, we'll try to refresh
I'm
you
just
back
trying
on
to.
that
Well,
one.
I'm trying to think of
They got
like
to the
details that I probably
closing.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
share.
Yeah.
So they closed.
That was a good filter.
So, and they and then
And they were happy with the house.
Oh yeah, back up a second. We're in the middle of a living room of a house that we're looking at going like as an alternative house. And the wife looks at the husband and goes, "You can tell the kids that we didn't get that house because it's your freaking fault because you are the one that didn't want the house and I wanted the house the whole time." And I'm like, "Oh God, okay."
You can tell the kids.
Whoa.
I'm leaving this conversation.
Yeah.
Hell hath no fury.
Sean's like, should I tell your kids? Oh my gosh, the dog's just.
Griff. Griff.
You alive? You okay?
He woke up and slammed his head into the table.
I see stars.
Yeah.
A little concussed, but we're all right.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
it
goodness.
does, like, buying and
Real
selling
estate
real
stresses
estate
people out.
does, yeah, especially marriages if they're not completely on the same page. So I had clients that I went to their house, showed them properties to look at, and they owned their house that they had. Well, it was the wife had it prior to their marriage, but they had lived there for 12 years. So they're like, oh, you know, same thing. We haven't found anything, whatever. And then all of a sudden I get a call from the husband. And we're probably 6 months into like the search. Not like actively every day. It was like one of those things like we don't have to move. So when we see like one house, we'll go look at that one house today. I get the call from the husband and he's like, yeah, do you know anybody up north? I said, what do you mean? He's like, can you sell me a house up north? He's like, I found one. So you guys aren't moving around here? You're going to move up north? He's like, yeah, we're actually separating.
Oh, good. So but that's two.
Because they could.
Two sales
Oh,
paid.
for sure. I sold him one and then
Well,
sold
it's
hers.
actually 3 deals.
Yeah, I
Because
sold.
he
That's
also
true.
sells the house.
Yeah, I sold the house. Yeah,
That's a 3.
Talk
it's a
about
3 for-
money, honey.
and I double-sided that one. Yeah,
That's how Brett got rid of the orange bag.
bro. Facts.
Was that the one?
Yeah, one of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's why-
in that time frame. Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
guys.
I'm sorry.
It's
Yep.
okay.
I have to terminate.
It was a short one, but a fun one.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all next
Where
week.
can they find us?
You can find us on YouTube, all the places you listen to podcasts, all the stuff, all the things. Follow us. We would love for you to.
That's why.
Yes! We would love for you to overdone.
If you're interested in joining the movement of realtors getting their time and life back, check us out at joinsimpliHOM.com on the browser, at simpliHOM on socials, or in the description. See you next week.